Today, I'm going to show you a new feature in Lightburn that's going to save you time and money when it comes to cutting multiple parts with your laser. Welcome to nesting. So what's great about the latest update to the software is that the team at Lightburn have integrated the nesting feature directly into the software. This can save you processing time and money by getting as many pieces onto the cutting material so that you can get the most out of the process and your material. So before we get into how nesting can help you, let me invite you to hit that subscribe button and bell icon so you don't miss out on any of the future tutorials based around lasers and Lightburn. And of course, feel free to follow the laser live streams here on the channel. I love seeing what you make, and it's a great way for laserologists all around the world to keep in touch and stay active. So what's nesting all about? Well, basically, nesting is all about the process of laying out your artwork so you can get the most out of the material and your laser cutter. Nesting is the process of closely placing your design elements together, and if possible, even sharing one cut line over multiple pieces. So here are some examples of projects before and after the nesting process. As you can see, parts are laid out together, sharing cut lines, as well as working out how to utilize the material with the least amount of waste. Now, because material costs are a large part of your process overhead, you want to get the most out of your material. With nesting, you can place more parts in a more compact space, which means that you can get more out of your material and make the jobs run faster. And that leads us into machine costs. The more time it takes to cut a design, the higher the price. Keeping pieces together reduces the travel time between the parts, making the cutting process a whole lot quicker. And the more effective your outlay, the more time savings are passed on to you. Now, if you're new to nesting, there are a number of options available to you to try out the process. Like everything, you can purchase dedicated services or software to do the nesting for you. But for this tutorial, let me share with you 2 free sites that are online and will allow you to try out nesting your designs. Now, the 2 sites we're going to look at are SVGNest and DeepNest. Now, SVGNest requires you to upload an SVG file to allow the software to process your design online. DeepNest is an actual application that you can download and run locally on your computer. Lightburn has integrated the functionality of SVGNest into its software. So all the heavy lifting and preparing of files, as well as sending them to the website, is streamlined and accessible from Lightburn's menu. So let's jump in and walk through how you can use nesting with your designs directly from Lightburn. So before we start off, let me admit to you guys that I'm super excited about nesting within Lightburn. This is actually something that I've been playing around with manually for some time, just to get the most out of the material that I'm putting into my laser cutter. Now, when I heard a few months ago that nesting was coming to Lightburn, not only was I super excited, but I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. So I spent the last couple of days actually working with Lightburn and SVGNest to try and understand it a little bit better. But right now, I'm going to show you the basics on using Lightburn to nest up your projects. So what I'm going to show you now is some designs that I have. I actually have them in my art library. And the very first one I'm going to bring in happens to be just a plain box, a normal box. You can see it's straight edges, nothing really too fancy. But if you imagine that I want to make 3 or 4 of these boxes, or I've got a piece of offcut that I want to make a box out of, I'm not too sure if this configuration is the best configuration that I can use. So I like to keep all my processes kind of uniform. So black usually is my line cut. So I've just changed that over there. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to imagine that I have an offcut. So I'm actually going to create a piece just over here. And I'm going to say my offcut is, let's say, I'm just randomly doing this, is this big. So I know off the top of my head, I can grab this, I can kind of bring it in here. Yeah, it kind of fits, it kind of doesn't fit. You know, it's a little bit short, it's a little long, but this is where nesting is going to be really amazing. So to set up the nest, Why this is important to know what the material size is that SVGNest needs a place to put all these pieces into. And the way to actually set that up, and I've tried this a number of ways, and this is the most successful way, is to grab your designs and actually move them off the workspace. Don't ask me why, but if they're on the workspace, it kind of creates a double space as such. I just want you to avoid some of the pain that I've discovered in the last couple of days. So it's really good to take this design and move it along, move it outside of the work area, and then leave whatever your definition of the material you're actually going to cut on the workspace. And then from here, it's pretty simple. What you want to do is you want to select all of them, or alternatively, you can go Command A, all select, and then you come up to arrange, and there's a new menu item here called Nest Selected. And when you hit that, immediately it's going to pop out and open up a browser window. I'm just going to open it up all the way, and that is actually sending us to SVGNest. SVGNest has nothing to do with Lightburn. This is a website. It's a free and open source nesting site for CNC laser or even plasma cutters. This website is going to do the bulk of the processing for us, because there happens to be a little bit of processing and AI and kind of wizardry in the background here. What our job now to do, the first time you do this in Lightburn, I'm going to jump back to Lightburn, give me 1 second here. You'll see a pop-up that says the file name to import has been copied to the clipboard. Press OK when nesting is complete. It's a little bit cryptic. What I've discovered is that if we pop back into... Okay, it's not going to let me do it because I've trapped ourselves in this cycle. So that's interesting. While we're in here, it's waiting for the result, but I did want to show you that pop-up. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to cancel that. I am going to go and start this nesting process again because it's locked us out of it. So we're going to hit nesting. It's going to pop us straight back in here. It's opened another window, so I'm just going to close that one. And your job right now is to hit this upload SVG. And what will actually happen is that if you go into your downloads menu, you'll see a new file here that says Lightburn nest.svg. What the amazing team at Lightburn have done is that they have actually converted your design into an SVG and allowed you to be able to place that directly into SVGNest. All you got to do is click on it, and you'll see here it says click on the outline to use as a bin. Now this could be a little bit tricky on this one because we've just got a whole bunch of squares, but if we go all the way down, I can see here's our 4 sides, here's our main body, and here is the piece of material that I want to use. So that is going to become our bin. So I'm going to click in here and come back up to the top, and I'm going to hit the start nest. And you can see we've got some big shapes here, but you can see as I scroll down that it's going through iterations really, really quickly. So all 5 parts are here. We've used 60% of the material, which is way better than what we saw before. Just visually looking at it, I thought, nah, that's not going to work at all. And you can see here, we can let that run really quickly and see whether we get a better or lower mark than 60%. One of the really interesting things that I've discovered using SVGNet is that the simpler the shape is, the faster this process runs. And you can see that right now, that the material is running incredibly quickly. It's like a few seconds, and it's already coming up to 500 iterations. And I've got a feeling that even though some of this may have moved, and unfortunately the image is so big that we can't see it all on the screen, we're still getting that 60% material utilization. So it still means that I could go back and kind of add more stuff to it, maybe see if I can get a few more pieces in. That is totally up to you, but right now I just want to show you how this process goes. And I've got a feeling we're probably hitting our optimum peak at this point, and it's only been probably less than a minute. We'll let it run. I'm actually going to get to 1,000 iterations, and then we'll see what actually comes out. And just coming back here, it doesn't look like it's moved a lot of things. It's got some kind of magic in there, let me tell you. So we're coming up to 1,000 now, and we're going to hit that stop. So we've got 5 parts placed. You can see they're all there. All we need to do now is hit that download SVG button, sends it out. Let's go pop over to good old Lightburn. And then it says here, the file name has been imported, hit OK. And now it takes us back to our download area, or directory, and we've got an SVGNest output. And the latest one, if we come down here, actually shows that design on that piece of material. So I can do a number of things now. I'm going to select it all. They're all individual pieces at this point. So I can come in and move it to my origin point, stick my piece of material in. Now I don't want to cut my material, so I can just delete that. And I have an optimum path, not only cutting the pieces out, but also you can see here, we are cutting on certain lines, so it'll be a faster process. Let's go and see here, see how it works. There we go, perfect. So we have all those parts cut out pretty cleanly. All right, that worked well. That's the basics of using nesting. You can see it's all integrated into Lightburn, but what if we want a more complex design? And this is where things get a little bit interesting. I was going to say tricky, but not really tricky. I have another design here. It's the same box, and it happens to have finger joints, which means there's a little bit more to process for SVGNest. So let's first of all change it to a black line. And I'm going to just move it over here. And I'm going to draw myself a little bit of a box. Again, I'm just making this up as I go along. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to take this design and move it up here. If I leave it like this, actually, let's do an experiment. I haven't actually done it this way before. Let's see. We go upload SVG. Here's our Lightburn nest.svg. Let's give it a shot. Start the nest. And you can see here, it's only put 3 parts. Well, it's now 4, but it may take us a long time to get that 5th part in. That's because what SVGNest is doing is it's taking into consideration all the different parts of the shape, all the different lines, and trying to work out the best configuration. So if you're doing lots and lots of pieces that happen to have finger joints or cutouts, the more complex, and wow, that actually did that a lot faster than I thought it. There's 5 by 5 pieces in here, so it worked it out a lot faster. I ran this once before, and it took me actually 500 iterations before it actually placed all 5 parts on the material. Could be because this piece of material is a little bit wider, a little bigger. But I just want to show you here, compared to the original box shape that was just straight lines, how SVGNet is actually, I won't say struggling, but got more work to actually get this in the best orientation. And you know what? As it's working, you can see here, it's kind of butting up a lot of those lines. It's coming very close to what it can do, but it's got these pieces just kind of floating. So we'll let that run a little bit longer. We'll see what happens. And of course, if we decided that's just one box, I'm going to go and scale this down a little bit, and we're going to add maybe 4 or 5 boxes to a full piece. I'm going to show you what that's going to do as well. This actually worked out pretty well. Maybe SVGNest is actually learning as we go along too. Who knows? Well, they do say it's AI. Maybe it's learning. We'll get to 400 and then we'll see where we go. Almost there. See, it's increasing a little bit. All right. So this happens to be its best configuration. Let's go to download SVG. It's now downloaded into my download directory. All I need to do here is just pop straight back into Lightburn, hit the OK button. It's going to pop up my downloads directory, and I'm going to import it in. And you can see here, just like last time, or in this case, as I said, it was individual, I can delete the material and just bring the design in, put it into my, as close as I can to my origin point, load up the machine and run. I want to show you SVGNet kind of struggling with a little bit of a complex job. So in this case, what I'm going to do before we get the artwork is I'm going to place a full piece of material into my workspace. Now, in this case, I do have to take the design out because it's not on the workspace at all. So what I'm going to do is let's go up to my window, the ever-loving art library, and I'm going to grab that finger joint. And what I'm going to do is just close the art library up. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to scale this a little bit, if I can actually cancel out into the right thing. Let's do that. Just going to scale it down just a little bit. And of course I'm going to make that black as well, because that reminds me that that's a cut line. It's a good habit to get into, I think anyway. So we're going to copy it. Let's copy one here. We'll just make sure it's not touching. We'll copy another one here. Let's see if we can just back out a little bit. I'm going to do another one here, another one here, and another one here. I'm going to hit Command A for all. Come back up to arrange. Hit the nesting selected. It pops me straight back out to the ever-loving SVGNest. I'm going to close the other windows so I don't get confused. I'm going to upload. Of course, the first file always is the Lightburn nest file. Here we go. It's asking me, click on the outline to use as a bin. That's my material size that I'm using for the... Let's see if I can do this. There you go, it's selected. Now we're going to start nesting. And you can see here, let's see. Now, in this case, it's only put half of those down. It's only put 15. It just got 16 in. Now, we know that it'll fit. There's no problem there. But because it's taking into consideration all the different lines that make up the sides of these boxes, it's going to take a bit of time. And I don't know how long it's going to take. And you can see already the process is a lot slower. So the more you load up SVGNest with complex geometry, the longer it's going to take. But the good thing is that once you've run it once and you've got the result, you can save it and run that job many, many times. Here we are at 18. Let's see how long it's going to take. We'll let that run. And it can take quite a bit of time. You know, we kind of tried to cheat it a little bit by making the material size as big as possible. And there's no question that I could do this by hand. But if you're using lots of pieces, really small little bits that you're going to put together, this can be a really, really fast and handy way to be able to get all those pieces on a piece of material, which also saves you time and money in the sense of being able to use all your material. There you go, 19. We only got 11 pieces left. As I was saying, you can save money by using all your material, and of course time by actually utilizing multiple cuts and edges on those cuts for your machine. And of course, once you've got this design, you can actually place it in your library and use it as many times as you want. So maybe you're going to make a whole bunch of different shapes. You can actually utilize how many, let's say maybe you got 10 boxes on one piece of material. You're able to actually do that and run those jobs as you need. Okay, I'm going to stop there simply because I've actually spent quite a bit of time working with this. It was coming up to quite a few iterations. I think it was about 400. You can see how long it took. It was over 40 minutes to get to that point. And in here, you can see that it still hasn't placed one of the parts, although it still has a lot of space. So let's finish this process. Let's bring it into Lightburn. Good old Lightburn. Let's hit OK. Let's grab the output, and you can see there already this one piece didn't make it onto the bin or the material, but I can do that manually. So let's just grab these guys, and you can see in this case it's actually done each individual piece itself. So it's kept all the groupings because I had them all individually grouped. So that's something that we can play with a little bit later. I'm gonna bring that in there, and I could flip it around I'm going to make it all work out. There you go. There's another example of some of the limitations on nesting, some of the things that you can use. If I left that run for maybe another hour, it may have found a good configuration for it. Then again, I'm not too sure. If you are going to use nesting, what I want you to take out of this is that if you are using a complicated model, such as the one in front of you, it's not something that you can do in a few seconds or a few minutes. Make sure you plan to use your nesting software and the integration into Lightburn ahead of time, because if you're in a hurry, it could take more time than actually running the job itself. We are definitely going to delve into nesting a little bit deeper with another video, but right now I wanted to show you how you can use SVGNest and Lightburn all configured within Lightburn itself. And that is how you can use nesting in a very basic way to improve your results with your laser. As I mentioned in the tutorial, we're going to go into a deeper dive all about nesting, but until that comes out, why don't you come and check out some of these videos right here, and I look forward to seeing you on the next tutorial here on the Laser live stream. Until then, go make something amazing, and we'll see you real soon.